Hello, I'm estate planning attorney Don Rolfe, and I wanted to talk to you about a question I got on Facebook the other day, which I think was fantastic. One of our followers asked how she could get her 20-something-year-old child interested in estate planning. And it's a great question and one that a lot of people don't think about. I mean, when I was 18, 19, 20, 25, estate planning was not the last thing on my list. It wasn't even on my list of things to think about. However, when we turn 18, and especially here in Oregon, there are certain rights that we gain, and also among those rights is the right to get liabilities. And some of those rights that we gain are privacy rights. So one of the big areas that estate planning will help you with is when it comes to your medical care. So when you turn 18, the hospitals, doctors, and so on and so forth that you may be treated by are not required to give any information to anyone. They are allowed, in the case that you are incapacitated, to give information to family members or close friends, but there's nothing that requires them to give that information. So there are two documents that everyone 18 and over should have executed and be ready to have in case of an emergency or an unforeseen act happens. And the first one in Oregon is called an advance directive. You may have heard of it as a living will. In Oregon it's called an advance directive. And what this document does is it allows you to select which treatments you would want and treatments you would not want if you were in an incapacitated state, if you were receiving artificial food, if you were on a respirator, those sorts of things. You can make those decisions in advance. It also allows you to appoint a healthcare representative, which will be able to make other healthcare decisions for you. The second document that you're going to want that relates to healthcare is called a HIPAA release. Basically, there's a federal law and an Oregon state law that says that your medical records are your private information, and the people that are treating you cannot release those records without your authorization. Well, this HIPAA release or HIPAA authorization, you name agents or persons who are allowed to get your information in the document. And that way, if you are unable to give your consent because you are incapacitated, in a coma, in surgery, this document will allow your doctors to see that it's okay and that you agree that your information should be shared with certain individuals. Now, outside of healthcare, you also have to look at your financial world. Once you turn 18, you're allowed to contract for all kinds of things. And in doing so, those people that you contract with, such as your landlord or your utilities or your cell phone company, are not actually allowed to share that information with anyone else. You've probably run across that before, where you've tried to get information about perhaps a friend's cell phone for them, and they had to give authorization for you to talk to the provider. Well, there's a document that you can put together that will allow someone else that you name as your agent to communicate with the companies or individuals that you have contracted with. This will include your bank, the utilities, landlord, and so on and so forth. That document is called a durable power of attorney, and everyone needs one, because let's say that you are in the hospital for an extended period of time. You want to make sure that there's someone that is out there in the world that's able to go and get information about utilities and pay those bills, pay your rent, get access to your bank account in order to pay all of those things, so that when you're out of the hospital, it's all still around and you don't have a huge mess to clean up. The last thing that perhaps not everyone needs, but everyone should have once they reach 18 is a will. And a will is what you think it is. It's a document that says who you would want to have your things after you've passed away. Now, most 18, 19, 20, 25-year-olds are not thinking about passing away, but it does happen. But more importantly, for those of you who have children, a will is where you're going to name the guardians for those children and who you would want to raise them if you were to die while they were still young. So I'm glad that the question came in. I hope that this video was informative. If you'd like to learn more about planning estate planning for Oregon young adults, please feel free to give me a call. You can reach me at 503-850-8345. Thank you and have a great day.